Like, oh my.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, my name's Ozzie Timmons. I'm a special assistant, coaching coordinator with the Rays now. In the past, I was a Milwaukee Brewers hitting coach the last 3 years, and prior to that, I was the first base coach and the assistant hitting coach with the Tampa Bay Rays.
All right. Thank you. So you've played in the majors at the highest level, and now you're developing the next generation. What's one lesson you try to pass on to every young player you work with today?
Well, now today, I just remind the guys how hard the game is, right? You got to continue to work. It's always a work in progress. With hitting, we always have to make adjustments. So I just remind them how hard the game is, and you got to continuously work on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to get better at.
Can you share a time when that lesson really clicked for someone that you mentored?
Well, like Willie Adamas is probably one of the guys I will probably highlight the most because he had to trust the process. The process takes a while sometimes. And a lot of the guys want it to be a quick fix. Everybody's looking for the magic pill. If I take this pill, I'm healed and I can hit everybody. But the process is you got to create a good swing, continue to work on a good swing, and try to get that muscle memory to do the same thing every time. But Willie probably was one of the guys that had to believe and buy into it. And then once he's seen the effects of it, which normally doesn't happen right away, so you got to be patient as a hitter because the game is always changing. So, once you get them to buy in, that's the key.
Looking back on your journey from Tampa to the big leagues and now back with the Rays, what role did your hometown roots play in shaping your mindset and your work ethic?
Well, the work ethic comes from my mom, who's a school teacher. My dad passed away when I was 7. And so, she did all this by herself. And so now, that's your hero. That's the one where you get that work ethic. She was a school teacher. So you watch and you learn how hard she had to work to take care of 4 kids. And so that's where it started. And then being in Progress Village, the neighborhood was great. You had, parents being the coaches and, you looked up to those parents, you respected those parents, and you got those lessons taught to you. So it's a process to get into that level of being a major leaguer, but it all starts with your base. And I had a pretty good base growing up in Progress Village with my mom.
What advice would you give to kids from Tampa dreaming of making it big one day?
Keep working. It's a process. You got to really believe in it. You got to want to do it. Your parents can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. You have to be the one that do it, right? So you can't rely on somebody doing things for you. You can't. Like I always tell kids, I forgot my glove. Mom, can you pick up my glove? No, if it's that important to you, you'll bring your glove, right? You'll bring your bat. You'll bring your tools that you need to be better. So my thing is, you got to believe in it. First of all, you got to believe in yourself because everybody ain't gonna believe in you. But once you believe in yourself and trust that process, then things can work out for you. But it's a tough grind, and you got to be willing to have that grind.
Solid. In your experience, what separates a good player from a great one, especially when it comes to making that leap from the minors to the majors?
Well, the good player is gonna get there and think I made it. The great player is gonna get there and continue to try to be the best player at that level. That's the big difference. Once you get there, you can, like people say, it's easy to get there, but it's hard to stay. And you never understood that because you work so hard to get there, and because you put in the work, and then you make it. You like, oh, I made it. I don't need to work anymore, which is not the truth. You got to continue to work, and I think that's what separates the good ones from the great ones. The good ones going to continue to try to be better. And a good example of that, I interviewed for the Astros hitting coach job right before they got in trouble or suspended or whatever with the cheating thing. And the main question from everybody that asked me a question was about what would you do if Altuve went in a slump? I say, talk to him, listen to him, and see what he thinks. Well, how long would you wait? I say players like that, they're not waiting around for the 0 for 20. Right. They're going to come to you at 0 for 8 because they don't like that feeling of being 0 for. And so that's what people don't understand. The great one's going to come to you before they get to the point where they're in a 0 for 50 song.
Right, right. Is that something you can teach, or does it have to come from within the player?
You can remind them. Most of them have it, but the good ones, I always say, they come to you later like, man, I wish I would have listened. Well, I'm not just telling you this just because I want to tell it to you. I think you're a great player, and I tell guys this all the time. You guys all got the talent, just how much time you want to put into it. It takes time, and it takes time. You just can't expect it to all of a sudden turn around and you're hitting 400. It's a take of time. Like you talk about the process. It is a process to it, but I got to keep grooving that good swing. I got to keep doing the same things over. I got to keep my routine the same and groove that good swing. So when it happens, it happens.
Right. Okay. You've coached in both the National and American leagues. How has this game changed since your playing days, and what skills are most valuable in today's game?
Say that one more time.
You've coached in both the National and American League. How has the game changed since your playing days, and what skills are most valuable in today's game?
Well, today's game, the American League is not what it used to be. Everybody has a DH now. The National League didn't have a DH. So the game was a little quicker back in my day. But now since they've gone to interleague play, and then now it's play everybody once every year, now that part is not the same. But before, it was the National League had the pitcher hitting, which was more of a manager's dream. Now they get to work the game a little bit more because you had to pinch hit, then you have to, change a player when you take the pitcher out. Now you got to put the pitcher in the right spot, all kinds of stuff. Right. But now everybody has a DH, so I think it's easier for the manager. Now the manager just has the manager in bullpen because you know who you're going to play, you know how it works, and you go. But back in the day, that was the difference. Now there's DHs in all the leagues, and so now it's not as much strategy going on like it used to be in the National League, and that game was a little quicker than the American League. So that was the biggest difference. But the game today, I think pitchers back in the day pitched to try to pitch complete games. Now it's more of, let's see how hard we can throw. Let's get to the bullpen. And then that's the new way now.
Right.
So you see, and that's the biggest thing that now compared to back then. Guys just, they throw harder. They ask to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can instead of trying to go 8 or 9 innings.
Are there any old school values that you think should be in today's game?
Oh, definitely. The old school value is keep working. You got to play hard. You got to trust yourself. The game hadn't changed. They still got to throw the ball over the plate. They still got to catch the ball. They still got to hit the ball. Yeah, guys are throwing harder, but now we got to be smarter. We can't swing as hard as they're throwing. So you got to have a process to that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just continue to swing. You got to make some adjustments.
And you spoke on the stars going into their slumps and coming to you to figure it out. Baseball can be a game of failure and patience. How do you help the young players stay mentally tough and focused when things aren't going their way?
So, like I tell guys, you're gonna have your struggles, right? We just don't want those struggles to last long. So we just got to keep working. And another thing I always tell guys too, when you have your struggle, all right, learn from it while you're at the field. But once you leave the field and close the door on that day, Ain't nothing you can do about it now. Go home and relax. Find a hobby. Get something to take your mind off this game because it's hard and it's 162 games. So find yourself a hobby, and then have something to break up that monotony of the game. But once you leave the field, you got to leave that day because there's nothing you can do about it. Now, when we come back to the field the next day, let's see what was maybe been deficient in that day or something wasn't working right. Let's look at it. Now let's get back to work. So my main thing is, man, just get away from the game. It's already hard enough. You got a wife, girlfriend, baby, whatever. Go see how they doing. Ask them how their day going. You know how your day went. There's nothing you can do about it. So let somebody else talk to you about their day.
What kept you going during your own slumps or setbacks as a player?
right there. What'd you say?
What kept you going during your own slumps or setbacks as a player?
I just kept believing in myself. I know I can do it. Like I was telling some of the kids the other day, when a guy got me out, I would run across the mountain and say, I don't know how you get me out. I'm gonna get you next time. So it was like a mind thing to trick myself. Like, I know I can do this. I'm going through something right now. I gotta keep believing I can do it. I never doubted myself. And sometimes that can creep in while you're playing when you're struggling. But if you keep believing, like, I got here for a reason, I keep believing. And I tell kids all the time, you guys are good. You just got to believe it. You can't, I can tell you that all day, but if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, we got one more question for you.
Okay.
If you were to go to the gas station right now, what's your go-to snack?
My go-to snack, that's a good one. What's those thing called? Sour Patch Kids, watermelon.
All right. All right. Well, thank you.